Dating can be really hard. It can be very difficult. I know that we're not supposed to be envious of other people. But honestly, I'm envious of Adam. Adam never had to date anyone. Right? I mean, think about it. He didn't have to pray, God, is it your will for me to marry Eve? She was it. That was all there was. I'm sure Adam would joke with Eve. Like I like to joke with my kids. I've told them when they were younger, I said, you know what, Ellie? You are my favorite daughter. To Ethan, I would say, you are my favorite son. And at first they're like, wow, you know? And then they realize, hey, wait a minute, I'm your only daughter. I'm your only son. But it's true. They are my favorite. They're my number one pick. I wouldn't have anyone else. And Adam told Eve, you're my number one pick, babe. All right? I love you. All right? I choose you and no other. I think that's where the wedding vow, right? That traditional wedding vow, I choose you and no other. I think Adam said it first, right? Because there was nobody else to pick. But he picked her. Now, dating is also really sped up. I think the speed of dating and how fast it goes, right? I mean, love moves really fast these days. You notice this with young people. I think it moves a little bit too fast. People fall in love, right? And then they just zip through these stages, and the next thing you know, they're planning a wedding. My mother is here today. She gave me great advice when I first started dating Jamie. She said, just wait a year before you make any major decisions. Wait a whole year. Just go through all the holidays together. Don't make any big decisions. And I tell you what, that was the best advice because that's what we did. And there was no pressure on the relationship. And we just built this foundation. And it was really nice. So here's my question for you if you are dating or if you might date in the future. 3 questions for you to ask. So parents, you can kind of keep this in mind for your own children as they get older. And if you're dating, think about these 3 questions. Number 1, can you take the scrutiny of your true friends and trusted family? Can you take their honest feedback? Right? We know love is blind. But can you take their feedback and take it in and understand it and hear it? Number 2, can you date for just a year and not make any big decisions? Can you let it play itself out? And number 3, can you trust me to counsel you and help you build a foundation for a healthy marriage? I think that the pastor does play an important role. I have done 29 weddings as an ordained minister. 29 weddings. Never once has a couple come to me and asked me, should we get married? It's always, we're getting married and we need that guy, that's you, to make it official. They never come to me and say, should we get married? And I've helped couples prepare them for marriage. It's one of my favorite things to do as a pastor. As I said, I meet with them several times. I go through a book called Preparing for Marriage. And as we go through the book together, I'm sort of the guide on the side, right? And I help them see, like this book here, Preparing for Marriage, if you take your time, you go through it together, there's projects in there. This literally could take months if you do it right. And that's what I want them to do. I want them to take their time and see it. And it puts everything out on the table. It doesn't it maybe brings out maybe some secrets, some things they weren't comfortable talking about when they were dating, right? And so I like to get that out there and build a strong marriage. Unfortunately, people don't always date that way today, right? They don't do that. They don't take their time. In fact, there's one thing that generally gets in the way of building a strong foundation for marriage, and that is that 3-letter word. Go ahead, you can say it so I don't have to say it first. Sex. Thank you. Thank you. Yes.